Have you ever wondered how the ordinary birth of a man in 570 AD in Mecca would change the course of history? Born in the heart of Mecca, Muhammad was the posthumous child of Abdullah and Amina. His birth was far from extraordinary, yet its significance is immeasurable. His lineage was far from ordinary, tracing its roots to the noble family of Quraysh. The Quraysh, as custodians of the Kaaba, held an esteemed position in society. They were the guardians of the sacred house, a role that commanded respect and reverence. Muhammad was born into this noble lineage, a descendant of a family that held both religious and social prominence in Mecca. His roots were deeply embedded in the sanctity and honor of the Quraysh tribe. Yet, his early life was far from the luxury one might expect from such a noble. His journey was marked by trials and tribulations that shaped him into the man who would change the course of history. Although born into a noble family, his early life was anything but luxurious. What if I tell you that this child, orphaned at a young age, would grow to be a revered figure for billions? Muhammad, the man in question, had a childhood marked by trials and tribulations. After losing both parents, he was taken under the wing of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. Upon the death of his grandfather, his uncle Abu Talib stepped in to continue raising him. In this early life full of adversity, Muhammad began to show signs of the remarkable person he was to become. His character was marked by an unwavering integrity and a dedication to truthfulness. These traits were so pronounced that he earned two titles: Al-Sadiq, meaning the truthful, and Al-Amin, implying the trustworthy. These were not merely words, but a testament to his character, a character that was consistent whether he was dealing with family matters or business transactions. Despite his hardships, Muhammad was known for his good character and honesty. Can you imagine a successful businessman leaving his comfortable life behind to meditate in a cave? Let's take a step back into the life of Muhammad, who was not only a successful businessman but also a respected figure in his community. His reputation for honesty and integrity earned him the nickname Al-Amin, meaning the trustworthy. In fact, it was this reputation that caught the early life. He sought peace and found spiritual experience that marked the beginning of his prophethood. The angel commanded him to read, to which Muhammad replied, "I do not know how to read." The angel repeated the command 3 times, each time pressing him until he felt as though he was being squeezed to his very limit. Finally, the angel released him and recited the first verses of the Quran, which Muhammad repeated perfectly. This was the pivotal moment when Muhammad's life took a divine turn. He was no longer just a businessman or a family man. He was now a prophet, chosen to deliver the message of Allah to mankind. But this new path was far from easy. It was filled with trials and tribulations, with resistance and rejection from those who did not want to hear the divine message. And yet, Muhammad remained steadfast. He carried the weight of this divine mission with grace and humility, forever committed to spreading the word of Allah. From a humble beginning, Muhammad received a divine mission that would transform him and the world. For the weight of such a task and the courage required to accept it. This was the challenge faced by Muhammad, the man who would become the prophet of Islam. When he first received the revelation, he was met with both support and skepticism. His wife Khadija was his rock, providing unwavering belief in his mission. She was the first to accept Islam, setting a precedent for others to follow. In followers, they were drawn to his message of equality, justice, and faith. But this path was not devoid of hurdles. He faced adversity, yet his resilience never wavered. He stood tall, firm in his conviction, inspiring those around him. And thus, from the sands of Arabia, began the journey of the man who would become the prophet of Islam, a journey that continues to inspire billions around the world. Followers, they were drawn to his message of equality, justice, and faith. But this path was not devoid of hurdles. He faced adversity, yet his resilience never wavered. He stood tall, firm in his conviction, inspiring those around him. And thus, from the sands of Arabia, began the journey of the man who would become the prophet of Islam, a journey that continues to inspire billions around the world. Followers, they were drawn to his message of equality, justice, and faith. But this path was not devoid of hurdles. He faced adversity, yet his resilience never wavered. He stood tall, firm in his conviction, inspiring those around him. And thus, from the sands of Arabia began the journey of the man who would become the Prophet of Islam, a journey that continues to inspire billions around the world.